Alright, it is 6:30. We will go ahead and call this meeting to order. We have a roll call, please.
Christian.
Here.
Jeske.
Here.
Bowles.
Here.
Oster.
Here.
Sauer. Whittington.
Here.
Halliday.
Alright, if you would, please join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Looking for a motion and support for this evening's, to approve this meeting's agenda.
I'll make the motion. Support.
Motion by Christian, supported by Whittington. All those in favor with the raised right hand, aye? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Looking for a motion and support for the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion. I'll support.
Motion by Oster, support by Christian. All those in favor with the raised right hand, aye? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Student and staff recognition.
All right, we've got a couple tonight. First of all, we had a great finish to the year, and we didn't miss a beat. We went right from finishing on Thursday with the half-day waving at the bus lot to the kids heading out, and then Friday, it kind of started off early. Big thank you to Alicia, Cheryl, Jeff, Chad, George, Doug, Jeff Raby, and all of our D&Burg custodians, Brenda Reinbold, Cheryl Lee Salyers, and our cafeteria staff for pitching in and helping move furniture last Friday. I know when I invited you to come join me, it was the last thing you wanted to do at 7 a.m. on Friday morning after we'd ended the year, but you did. You all showed up, and in less than 48 hours, I would have lost a bet, but I'm not a betting person, but I would have lost. Less than 48 hours, every single classroom at Commons is completely empty. All of the rooms are itemized, all the materials are stacked neatly in the gym, numbered by room with tape around them, and they started over there with preparation to do the demo. So we're definitely ahead of schedule. I thought that might take over a week, but it was done in really less than 2 days. So super big thank you to everybody for pitching in. Many hands make light work for sure. Thanks also to Collins administration and secretaries for their flexibility. They have, for the first time, shifted their work stations and summer school over here because Collins is off limits for many weeks. Summer school's off to a great start, both elementary and secondary. So we have the junior, senior high group in our library, and they're up and running. We had 30 kids in there today, so great first day for them. And we had nearly that many elementary kids, K-5, and it was fun to walk out of my office once to kind of go up the hall, and I saw little ones coming out of Boyk's room, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So it was kind of cool to see little ones here enjoying the big building, and that was a lot of fun. And last but not least, I'm super excited. I have Coach Jennifer Williams here tonight to help us provide very well-deserved recognition to a phenomenal young athlete. So without further ado, take it away.
All right, thank you. Yes, I asked Mr. Williams if I could come, and I was hoping more of our team would be here because, in case you didn't know, I coach middle school track and have done so for a number of years. Struggled the last few years with numbers ever since COVID, and also with co-coaches. They keep leaving our district. But with that aside, we did open it back up to 6th grade, and so we had a large team again. We were competitive throughout the season. It works out that 2 of our 8th graders are here because Kinsey and Julia, they were true leaders along with our other 8th graders. We had one 7th grader who did not participate in track prior because we didn't have 6th graders last year. And so we had just a very, very small number of kids who had been involved before. But you two took that leadership role to a new level and really guided our young team. So I wanted to give a shout out to them. Trying to look at where our scores were. There is not a single 6th grader, well actually anyone on the team, but the 6th graders especially, they tried a number of events without complaining. It didn't matter. Each week they tried new things they were willing and eager, and they did show improvement, so everybody did. Looking at our regular season, before I go to the regular season, I wanna go to our, conference meet, the championship meet of the conference. We had, Julia Sargent placed first, so she's the conference champ in all 3 events, the 55 hurdles, 200 hurdles, and pole vault, as well as Gabe Francie, second in the 70-meter dash, 5th in the 100-meter dash with a new PR. Our boys 4x100 relay team of Maverick Abel, and Aiden Brinkman were 6th graders. Travis, a 7th grader, and Walker Rogers, they came in second, so that was a huge boost of confidence and a nice win for them. Keegan scored second, and Emerson Hilton came in 5th for the 800-meter run. The thing about Emmy is she never wanted to run the 800. She is a great middle distance, long distance runner. She thinks she's a sprinter, and she wants to run that 70 and the 100. But man, she really gave Kinsey a run for her money in that 800. So that was all really good. Just a really nice performance, teamwork, team effort. And then just a few other stats I wanted to share with you. The regular season was great. We had 2 students qualify for regionals. We learned our lesson. I guess you don't have to qualify. We thought that was kind of like the high school level. You had to reach a certain level, and we went and they competed against all ability levels. But at that meet, Julia scored, did you get 3 seconds in that one? Second?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the 55 hurdles, the 200 hurdles, and pole vault, she came in second, a large meet. And Keegan scored second at regionals. Then we went on to the meet of champions. That's a big meet over in Manton. And Julia got second, first, and 9th. That was a rough day in pole vault. But it was the perfect thing for Julia, because after regular season of win, and making it look easy, and I want to put a little side note there. One thing, if you don't know her, Julia doesn't just accept a first place win as enough. She sets a goal. So yes, she was scoring first place finishes, but she wasn't 3-stepping every single hurdle. And that was her goal. And so she was doing that. She was working towards getting a new PR, setting some school records, which brings us to the last day of school when we all went to picnics and golf and friends and packed our classrooms and all that other fun stuff. Keegan and Julia went to Shepherd, the Mid-Michigan Meet of Champions. Didn't realize this until this afternoon. There were over 80 schools there. They place, if you look on athletic, they will score or list the scores for the top 50. In our girls, we scored 11th place, and we only had 1 participant because Julia did that well. Did you know you did that?
I did not.
Yeah, so as a team, Houghton Lake, at the Megastar meet, we beat Roscommon, Lake City, Beale City, Everett, Harrison. So not only is she our conference champ, she did that along a lot of big schools. In addition, Julia, if I can have you stand up, I was hoping to thank you in front of your team again for your leadership role, but also let all of you know that she asked her mom to bring her to school 6, 7 a.m. in the morning so she could practice before school. She reached out to other coaches with pole vault experience because she wanted to learn it. She's very coachable, very hardworking, and she broke not 1, but 2 school records on her last day of school. So congratulations, Julia. You have the new middle school track record for pole vault and 55-meter hurdles.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see what she does in high school and beyond, because she has all the ability and tons of work ethic. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, Julian.
Thank you.
Are you taking the summer off, or are we going to work a little more? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You got the bug, huh?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Mom's as excited as you are, I can tell. thank
It's
you, Mom,
been-
for
it's-
getting her there, cause I know it's a family commitment too.
It is, for sure.
I don't know who or if we had a record established in pole vault for middle school girls. But I think the 55-meter hurdles was set, it would have been
That's
2016 or 2017. So she's held it for quite a while. Maddie
Very
beat
good.
out Lexi Blanchard, so she's up there with the elite. And happy to see you up on the leaderboard, because she definitely worked hard.
Awesome. Well, keep up the good work. Super proud of you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah.
All right, very good. And that is my student staff recognition. Thank you, Coach Wade.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to public comments. I do have one sheet for one public comment, so I'll go through and read the spiel here, and then the floor will be yours, okay? Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you are about to say, we urge you to
There was
consult
this news for us
first with
exactly
legal
yet,
advisor.
but
Each
Sarah
speaker
Schreiber,
will be
who
limited to
has
3
been
minutes.
contacted through the district
Delegations of
supporters
up to
of our
5 persons
has
wishing to
asked
speak
us
on the same
to
topic
go and
shall
present at a
one
national
person
conference
present
around
their
family
views each
engagement. So we're excited about this opportunity because she saw some strengths in the family engagement component that we had at Crown District. So that's coming up in October.
I'm dreaming of an athletic department that puts our
And
athletes
finding the increase in student achievement, so
department that
you
supports
put my
all
last
team
presentation in February, I know I shared your
regardless of the
foundational
size
skills.
or
That's just so
income
important at the
brought
elementary
in from the
level.
stamps.
A lot of that work we do
An
isn't just
athletic
around the
department
NWA
that
scores or
demonstrates
MSTEP
integrity
scores, but it's
towards our
kids learning
athletes,
letters and sounds, and spelling
coaches,
inventory,
and
reading
parents.
fluency, and those phonics that are so important.
And the coaching
And in our building, the
turnover
collective efficacy that we
rate
have
for
around that
community
is just
schools.
phenomenal. Jen can speak to that too.
The
We
amount of
have
time
all of our
superintendents
teachers come
spend
together, we
meetings
talk about it at
with
PLCs.
coaches and
we're
parents
really
in regards
focused on
to
what our
issues
students
arising
need, and that's
from
the
the
athletic
athletic
department as
department's
well.
handling of
And that's just an
issues
opportunity
in the
where
ways
we're
that was
really
very
getting close to what we need to help them.
It's time to make a
pursue
change.
that.
The future
And
public.
so then within that, NWA, so really just highlighting grades 1 through 6, we saw growth in all
Thank you.
subject areas. And I left out kindergarten because it's just such a different, so
Any other
different at
public
kindergarten, there's so
comments?
many barriers when they're taking that assessment. And so with kindergarten, we say the
Hearing
biggest
none, we'll move on.
is them knowing their letters and sounds. And so our intentionality around that work
Brings us
this year
to
has shown great
presentation
gains.
of end of the
We're
year
just super
academic
proud of the work that we've done at
progress.
Powell.
Looks like Alicia's up first.
And stuff, we've been analyzing that data for our building leadership. I'm gonna spend some time sharing some highlights from this past school year as well as improvement, things that we're looking forward to in the year longitudinally. So following 3rd grade to 4th grade and 5th grade. In education, we use those terms glows and grows. So glows just stands for highlights, and I was talking to Doug, what do you mean glows? Attendance highlights, so we know that students. So glows from the past school year. We recall, I had shared previously, Mr. Shear and I, about the team grant work. And so wanted to highlight, we had one staff member at Council, so their vision is around changing the way that school year. I did reach out to Robin to see if he was the only one in the district. Found out there's 2 other bus drivers that also had perfect attendance, but he was the only teaching staff that had perfect attendance all year, so called school board for 2nd grade teachers. And then one team come in, and they were modeling it for us because the hope is that this year is also do some recognition, they took their picture, got them certificates and some prizes. So basically, they're going into classrooms with that appreciative lens. So some other ways that we're recognizing student attendance and just trying the focus that we gave them was around is through classroom challenges, so at the end of each month, we send out everyone's reports, our classrooms that they have scheduled highest attendance through observations, and some were through pizza party, one for lower L, and from that, they call growth edges, perfect attendance that we acknowledge for individual students. And so every month, we share that choice of our board of leadership team, and then our staff has or you want candy or extra from there, we can take all to focus on our student engagement, and then the growth edge from that. And then each trimester this year, we also recognize perfect attendance. That was one of our goals from this past school year, over there, continuing that work. Term 2 was looking at Pine Cedar. And another one is around the school improvement, so that MyPick work, we want to have Mr. Williams share some updates on our MyPick work we've been doing as a district. And so we're just continuing areas of opportunity for 2024-2025 for growth as well. So just that increased family engagement opportunity, our focus around through MyPick, we identified additional academic opportunities for that, our families and then connect and engage as Mr. Williams and I are, being instructional, partners of ours with their students' learning. Continuing the work with the High Impact Leadership, the Hill Grant, to optimize accelerate growth. Ways that we're going to do that is through a school renewal rounds when we're visiting classrooms. Again, the gradual release will come back to our school team and not necessarily having outside supports for that. Our PLCs, every grade level meets bi-weekly for a professional learning community to look at data, progress, monitor how our students are doing. Lunch and learns are facilitated by our instructional behavior coach, and they just follow whatever we're working on through PLCs. Book study, so Mrs. Williams facilitated the book study this past spring, and then curriculum campus scheduled for August 13th, 14th, and 15th, where our teachers will come and have some professional development going into the year. Continued focus on attendance and student behavior through data collection, and again, our behavior leadership team that meets bi-weekly every Friday morning at 7 a.m. analyzes that data. We'll continue working with the student support specialist and our behavior coach to put specific interventions into place. Curriculum and alignment. You'll see some things coming through for you to approve, but we are going to be piloting our ELA curriculum this coming year. Our curriculum review team selected Bookworms and Open Court as the ELA curriculums that we're going to pilot. Bookworms will be piloted in 1st grade and 3rd grade, and Open Court will be piloted in kindergarten and 5th grade. And so it was a tough decision. We had some support from the ISD and from Lori Pearson, who was our Hill Grant facilitator. There's not a right or wrong way to pilot a program, and so we just selected something that made the most sense for us in a way that Deanne Gross, our instructional coach, could still support those teachers and work closely with them. So the reason for the pilot is this is our last year Wonders, which is our current curriculum, and so after this 2024-25 school year, we have to select a new ELA curriculum. So the pilot will help determine which one that is, Bookworms or Open Court. And I know, as Jeff had shared previously, I think back in February, we're excited about the ELA alignment that we're going to have 6-12 with My Perspectives. And then our social studies teacher, Mr. Meyer, will be joining the junior senior high with the TCI social studies curriculum. And then we're still waiting on approval, waiting to hear back from Katie Feeling. The state hasn't awarded grants yet, but we're hoping to get the 23H grant, which is improving mathematics, teaching, and learning. And so with that would be a fluency program that comes with that. It's called Number Corners, and it complements our current curriculum of Eureka Math. So looking ahead, school improvement, our 3 goals that we have selected as a district are ELA, math, and K-12 well-rounded child. So we're continuing to work on those strategies and activities to support those goals. Our building leadership team has a date in August, late August, that we're going to be meeting to set our goals and priorities for the coming school year. And then the Hill Grant project, we actually have a team right now down in Grand Rapids at a summit. Miss Jesse's there right now. And they're learning, and Cheryl and I met with them virtually this afternoon to do some planning around that work, and we'll meet with them again virtually tomorrow. So super excited about where we went this year and where we're headed for next year and years to come. So thank you.
Great work, Alicia.
Yeah. Any questions around
I'm
anything?
super excited about the synergy between 6th and now 7-12 for your 2 curriculums.
Yeah.
That's going to be super helpful.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Good work.
So my audio, visual, always leaves something to be desired, but we're gonna run with it anyway. It's been 3rd year, and it's been the best year yet. I'm really excited to be here, but I'm also I feel like we're on we're at a tip of we're ready to take a next step, and that's always scary, right? Because you try and get to a new plateau, and then when you're on that new plateau, you gotta go take on another mountain, and that's kind of intense right now. And so as we've made some growth and some strides in things in the last 3 years, we've become really comfortable and really confident in attacking those challenges. And so as we're getting ready to kind of move forward, it's like this moment of just intensity, because we're really excited at what we're going to go pursue now, but also nervous because it's uncharted territory. So I'm going to put some data in front of you, mostly because I'm just proud of it. So our 7th grade started the year 4 points behind the national norm average and finished 1.6. And so we made a little over a grade and a half growth compared to what we were supposed to do. The biggest thing for me, though, is we're seeing 40 out of 70 students that are exceeding the national norm average. And so when you look at the data set like that, what that means is in the past, when we looked at our data, our top 10 students would skew the data positively for us. And what we're actually seeing now is our very low achieving students are actually the ones who are modifying the average a little bit more. That's a great piece when you look at it in your data set, because you don't want a couple high scores making it look like it's better than it is, right? But you don't mind if a couple of low scores maybe drops it a little bit and it's still holding where it's supposed to be. So our 8th grade was great. They came in within the error margin of national norm average, so they were like 0.3 off. And they're now just right at the national norm average, so just exactly where they're supposed to be. But the most exciting part is we only have 11 students in that entire cohort scoring in the low range. So there's a very large chunk of that population scoring in the average to high range. Our 9th graders is the group that I'm most excited about, right? So I've stood up here for the last 3 years and we've talked about this data set that has been quite low and big challenge and all the resources we're putting into it. They absolutely crushed it this year. So coming into it in the fall, they were 6.2 points behind the national norm average. And then in the spring, they're now only 1.8 points behind the national norm average. The coolest part is we still have 25 students in the low range, which speaks to a couple of demographic factors, like a really high special ed identification as far as in that cohort. And then also some of the at-risk factors are really high in that cohort. And so even with those factors, we are closing in on getting that group to the national norm average. Their behavior and their discipline as a cohort significantly declined this year. If you see a 9th grader, tell them you're proud of them because they crushed it this year. The 10th grade, set it and forget it. They were national norm average at the beginning. They're a little higher than national norm average, but it's within that error margin. Their data is unique because it's just true bell curve. So we have 25 students in the low average range, 18 students truly average to high average, and then 25 students in the high average to high range. So it was like a real unique, we don't see it dispersed like that usually. And so that was a cool grade. And then finally our 11th graders, data set is just inconclusive. So what happened with the 11th graders, we have 15 students that did not finish, they started but did not finish their NWA test, because you start to get to CTC and dual enrollment. And so many of those students also have to take the SAT, like it's mandated, right? And so as sports and clubs and activities and CTC and all those things happen, as we were prioritizing the makeup, you always have to prioritize the SAT and some of those other pieces. So pulling them and getting them where they needed to be became challenging. Getting them out of CTC to come take the test when they weren't rostered for the class became challenging. And frankly, with all the end of year stuff and it not being a mandate, it did become consequential. The reason I put this in there is because you guys have heard me kind of talk about this. Those data points are kind of the data points that help the data like level out a little bit because they do tend to be your dual enrollment students that score higher. And so that being said, the 11th graders chugging along. They still made up 1.9 points on their score over the course of the year. So rock solid group, and they more than made up for it in the math data that we'll see a little bit later, where we were able to get a little bit bigger testing cohort. But our goal for the English department next year is we're working with Katie Fueling and Core ISD on assessment consistency, specifically doing an item analysis of the assessments that they use at the end of the semester to make sure that we are not missing something in our teaching that directly connects to a common core state standard, so that we're teaching what we're supposed to be teaching and it's reflecting on the test. Proud of our English department, sad to see, you'll see this later, we are really sad we're moving Mr. Hoover out of English, but excitedly he's going to become our student advocacy coordinator, which means he's going to be running our in-school suspension model and our discipline model. He has a unique ability to connect to kids of all walks, and so we're really excited, and that also allows Mrs. Hissom to come back and jump back into the English classroom, which from previous years. You knew Mrs. Hisson knows her way around an English classroom. So we're really excited to see that. Jumping into math, our 7th grade, the data here, I just kind of condensed down a little bit because math just kind of cruised this year. Like it was really a set it and forget it group as everybody, I didn't want to put too much pressure on that group because we had to do some shifting last year to strengthen our academic advising office. And so we made some changes and it went very well. So if you see our 7th grade made a 6.3 point jump. When you go to our 8th grade, give it up for these kids. They are not only exceeding the national norm average, but over 62% of our students are exceeding the national norm average out of that cohort. Our 9th grade, again, like just give it up for these kids. They went from a 218.7 to a 227.3. And the biggest thing is we took 20% of our students that were scoring in the low range, the lowest range of test scores. 20% of those students shifted to low average or average this year. And so there's growth, there's maturity. It's been one of my favorite cohorts to watch. 10th grade, again, they're like kind of like this unsung hero. They're just a set it and forget it group. They just do what they're supposed to do. And so they are, again, at the national norm average. It started that way, they ended that way. Very similar, not full on bell curve, but just a very like traditional data set breakdown. And then we get to the 11th grade and legitimately they exceeded the national norm average and all norm measures. So if you look at NWA national norm data, right, it stops at 12th grade, it's like a 234.4 is that score. It doesn't give a norm average after that. Our 11th graders at 237.8, so they're not even on the chart right now. So kudos to them for the work that they did, and just that group came into the year pretty rock solid, but they kept going. So the 2024-2025 goal, for those you don't know, I don't know everybody at the table knows, but Mr. Voigt is leaving, which is somewhat, it's a tear-jerking thing. He is a Houghton-like legend, and so we are now in the process of going through another realignment. So much confidence in the team that we have there, but our goal for them is really we have a solid curriculum. They've been doing the data analysis already, and so they're ready to go, and so it's really just letting everybody get to their home and settle a little bit for math. So nothing consequential. I don't want to mess with something that's working, and so we're going to continue doing what we've been doing in math. Social studies, we added a middle school government elective, which has been awesome because in our MyKIP work, our social studies scores definitely needed to be addressed. And so we added a middle school government elective to start jumping into that work a little bit. As Alicia referenced, we did a curricular review, and we are going to be partnering with the 6th grade to have 6th through 12th alignment through TCI. The books are here. Teachers have been picking up their teachers' editions and starting to go through it. And so we're unbelievably excited and appreciative that you guys approved that curricular purchase for us. So the 2024-2025 goals is to, one, implement that curriculum for grades 6 through 12, begin the item analysis of assessments. Again, we want to make sure when we test kids that if we look at the items, it is connected to a standard. And if kids are consistently missing the same standard, we then get to reflect on our teaching and say, do we need to go back and change our instructional practices to address these standards? And so that's the nice thing, that is the value of curriculum, is because it makes achievement easier to attack, right? Because you know what you're missing, because everything is tied to what the state or federal government is asking you for. And so then we want to observe the standards-based curriculum does to support the MyKIP School Improvement Plan, specifically as it pertains to social studies. Just making sure that what we're teaching and what kids are learning is, at an appropriate, measure. Science, we added a nationally board certified teacher this year, Ms. Booth, and she started and led the process of a curricular review. Our middle school science teachers, which is Ms. Booth and Mr. Martina, then we're to begin piloting some curriculum. So there's a lot of free middle school science curriculum. So when we say free, the curriculum's free, the consumables are gonna cost money. Like a free curriculum usually comes with a lot of experiments that cost money. And so there's a give take, but they kind of dove into piloting some of these programs to start looking at things. So that we're likely going to make a recommendation to you guys next school year to go with what is going to be 2 curriculums. So there's not a grade 6 through 12 science program. What you're seeing is a lot of free middle school things that are hands-on, and then you transition to devise specific classes through some of the bigger, out-of-the-box curriculums. And so we're really looking at TCI because we like the interface of it. We like how it presents for like our biology, our chemistry, our high school classes, but then using something that's more widely distributed within the ISD for our 6th through 8th. So that's going to be things that we're diving into this year. In addition, we want to welcome a new staff member to the building. We are in the process. We do think that we're going to make a recommendation for a science teacher who the students will be quite familiar with through that posting. And we're just kind of waiting to see. She's in the teacher prep program right now. So we'll see what that looks like as we transition forward. And then we need to develop a consumables budget. So there has to be something within our internal accounts yearly so that we can do, like it says, the science teachers put cool stuff with the kids, do some of these experiments that engage learning. Our fine arts continues to be just my favorite part. It's just so much fun. So here's where we're at in fine arts. I can't keep up with everything that goes on. Fine arts has become very much like athletics, where there's no way I'm going to be at everything because there's so much happening, right? I like to go support our kids, but this year drama did musicals, plays, and dinner theater. And so the dinner theater was just kind of a cool experience. We were really grateful to the community for helping us make that happen. We're in year 2 of the middle school cohort. It was very nice. I went, caught a little bit of it. My niece was in it, and like her whole challenge was to say her lines without looking down at her script. And so like they're trying to push those kids a little bit more. And now they're trying to grow it to those ancillary like support pieces of plays, kind of getting those students more involved and trusting them a little bit with more of like the backdrops and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun to watch that develop. The forensics team, we had a 5th place finish at the MIFAA forensics tournament. Very similar to what Julia did with our track team. We had Sydney Horsky just was a rock star there, and so we cumulatively got a 5th place finish with her efforts. But we also added middle school forensics and had great turnout for middle school forensics. We're in double digits, which we're hoping feeds into those 7th grade plays becoming more than just like an experience, but really starting to be trauma. And then it was really cool. We're trying to bring cool stuff here. I'm proud of Houghton Lake. I want people to come here and have an opinion on the things that we're doing, because like everybody else, we have some things that are in need of improvement, but we have some things that are so great. And so we hosted the MIFAA Regionals Tournament. So we host these basketball tournaments, or basketball rounds, regionals, quarterfinals, and we see all these people come here. We did that for forensics this year. And that is so awesome, because that taps into an entirely different group of students who then think, well, my school cares about what I like as well. And so awesome, just, hats off to our forensics coordinators on that. Band and choir, I have nothing under that, because band and choir are just rolling, right? So they're just doing what they do. We're consistent with our concerts, we're consistent with our numbers. Choir actually grew by 2. The nice thing though is choir grew by 2 and had no seniors. So now they will grow again next year. We'll steal a couple more 7th graders from that. Mr. Baker's done a nice job of organically growing that group. Tonight, thank you. We made a recommendation to hire Christina DeVos. She's wild. I'm so excited. And She is gonna come. Christina's coming to us from Connecticut. I'm gonna say from Connecticut via Romulus. She spent 6 years in Connecticut building the fine arts program for a magnet school. And then actually interviewed with us a year ago, and we were like ready to make the hire, and then I'm gonna be really honest here, she was in Connecticut, and I'm like, oh, so many things could go wrong, and I got cold feet and kicked myself about it, but we had a great opportunity the last 2 years with Mrs. Quick, and she did a fantastic job. But when we reposted this year, getting Christina to reapply and bring that same energy. When somebody says, I want to be in Hope Lake, it's my dream job, and when you call those administrators and they say, and this is her dream job, like you just get so fired up. So I'm geeked about art, and the 2024-2025 goal is a Christina DeVos goal of getting a fine arts showcase, getting our performing arts, our drama, our band, forensics, getting all of these groups in the same place at the same time and showcasing all of their various talents. So it's cool, like hire good people, get out of their way, let them do great things, and we think within this department that's what we have. P and health, I don't want to keep beating the drum on the facilities, but amazing. So getting to watch Mr. Blanchard, I'm telling you, we're gonna get 10 more years out of that guy with that new weight room. You go and watch what he does with a PE class. So I've always said before, like there are elementary teachers and there are secondary teachers, and they are so different. But even within that, there's also, and then there's PE teachers, right? And like, you go watch it, Ms. Blanchard, Ms. Monaco, and the structure and organization of the class is so fantastic. What we're excited about is we wrote a grant to the Roscommon County Community Foundation to a company called GymAware. It is velocity and resistance-based strength training. And so there are these little end caps that go on the dumbbells and bell bars and all of those good things up in the weight room. And it is going to measure like how fast and what form kids are pushing the weights up. And so instead of going up there and your goal is to just struggle to get as much weight up as you can, your goal will be like how fast do you push the weight up, how clean is your form. We're seeing this at the University of Michigan, Michigan State University. Large Division I programs are running this GymAware and Team Builder program. And so the only schools in the area that are running it, Mr. Blanchard went and did an on-site review at Gaylord. If you see Gaylord's weight training, you can go on YouTube and you can search for this. They're just doing next level things in which kids will log into an iPad. The iPad will actually watch them, film them as they're lifting, and give them real-time feedback, almost like another teacher in the classroom. And then all of their data goes into their student profile, so they can actually track their gains and their resistance. And so Mr. Blanchard is taking this on 100%. This will begin to be piloted next year as some of the equipment starts to come in. And so that is the 2024-2025 goal. And the nicest part about that, the RCCF grant helped pay for that. And then we have very little other costs that we're gonna have to go get. So the athletic department is gonna help out a little bit, and we'll seek some other things. It's almost no curricular cost for us, but it's gonna kind of revamp our weight training program in those classes for Mr. D. STEM and electives. STEM continues to be the fastest growing class/block. So we currently have 8th grade exploration, STEM 1, STEM 2, and Mr. Bunn just gave me we're gonna do something like STEM 3, where it's almost like occupational STEM. Because I don't know if you guys have seen the beautiful championship banners that went up that actually like show the pride that we have and the achievements that we've had. That's all STEM. They're doing a lot of those things, and he takes the idea, gives it to the kids problem solve it. And so as we get to STEM 3, he wants to really start incorporating science and math standards into the instruction to potentially make those science and math electives. That's always been the goal. You've heard me say that before. And he's like, he is going to a training this summer, and brave new world on the horizon. That's what I'm saying. It's big work, scary work, but we're ready to start taking some of those steps, we think. We'll see where it lands, you know, it's okay to fail. And it's a lot of work that goes into that, but we're cautiously optimistic that we're on the right path. Spanish, Mrs. Baker is excited to be looking at some new Spanish textbooks this year. It's not a full curricular purchase, it's a set of textbooks that we're really looking. She does so much support stuff in her class, but a new textbook that does not, we're not fans of the current textbook that we have. It gets the job done, but we like something a little bit newer. And so the final thing is, for this, we're looking at an intervention and an SAT prep elective course. We would like to have something like that. So when I say goal, the goal is to problem solve that. We're not ready, but we eventually want to have something so that our kids who are really low and struggling in certain subjects are getting help, and our kids who are trying to, you know, get a perfect SAT score. Athletics, super excited. Really rare. I don't know if this has ever happened before, but we had state finalists in all 3 sports seasons, girls golf, so fall, winter, spring, right? Girls golf, boys wrestling, team and individual bowling, and track. So at least one sport each year went to the state finals. I think sometimes we don't always reflect on how unique that is. It just doesn't happen all the time. Very cool. You know, Mr. Moore's not here to speak on this, but if we talk about participation rates, it's been our biggest goal. It's been our biggest focus because we know if kids are connected to something, their academic achievement, their attendance, all of those things come up. And so we're really excited to say right now that 45% of our students participated in an athletic team last year. Talked about the facility upgrades. Kudos to Mr. Moore on the championship banners. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of championships. And he went through, partnered with Eric Hamp at the Houghton Lake Resorter to make sure that we were getting all of our 1,000-point scorers and all of our different conference, district, and regional championships. That took, you know, countless hours. But again, that sense of pride when we're in the gym now means quite a bit. We will be heading into year 2 of a 4-year cycle in which all of our sports will be fitted with new Adidas uniforms. So every 4 years, that's a terrible wording, I should have reread that. Every 4 years, teams will be on a cycle where every sports team will get new uniforms. We have a contract with Adidas. And so any of the Adidas under branding, so that could be like Champro or Allison or whatever, our teams will have uniforms every 4 years. And so that's nice to just make sure we don't end up in a situation where our teams are wearing, you know, 8-year-old uniforms on varsity. And so JV always gets the hand-me-downs, but if you're getting them every 4 years, we're in pretty good shape. We're also pretty excited at the number of JV teams. Like, not all of them are stable yet when we look at the lack of JV teams in schools around us. We're really excited that we continue to add JV teams to the mix. We also want to continue to think like the Houghton Lake Sports Boosters collaboration. We have the brand new chairs that were in the gym you saw at graduation, and then we have a new digital video scoreboard or whatever that's supposed to be pretty cool that's coming in. That was a pretty huge purchase that's going to bring in continued revenue to support our athletics. And then finally, the biggest thing for me is we're in the summer, we're in the downtime. And right now, you currently will see basketball, baseball, football, softball, volleyball, cheer, girls golf, and soccer all doing activities right now pertaining to their summer off-season programs. That's a lot. I left off boys golf because everybody's golfing right now. I don't know if it's specifically team, so I just didn't want to say, oh, it's boys golf and have it just know they're just in a Thursday league. I know Jimmy's got the kids golfing, and I know those boys, if they can be somewhere, it's a golf course, and I don't blame them. So when we look at what our sports teams are doing, you know, just hats off to, you know, all the coaches and players and Mr. Maury for all their hard work. Finally, clubs and activities, Student Senate and Student Council hosted 8 dances and activity nights this year. They purchased DJ equipment, so we used to have to pay $350 off the top every time we hosted one of these things. They bought their own DJ equipment, they preset the playlist, and then one of the members of Student Center or Student Council runs it now, Mr. Marr was instrumental in helping our student senate make this purchase. Pretty good sound system. It puts more money back into their internal account, which lets them do more things for our students. And really, I just like the thinking, right? Like spend money to make money. They're really cost conscious. I'm pretty proud of them. They also expanded our student government to add some students who are, I can't remember exactly what they're going to be called, but essentially they're not the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, but they're a representative who gets to have a voice at the table, so that again we have a bigger voice making these decisions. And just continue to list our clubs, because I can't believe Mr. Klein out on his way out, I said, you know, what are we getting right? And he goes, I just can't believe a school district this size has this many offerings for kids. Like, it's just so great to see. And so that continues to amaze me. Our quiz bowl team, like, I don't think we got it out there well enough that we have a quiz bowl team. We actually had quite a bit of success this year, so that was fantastic. Tutoring will continue through December in this current iteration, but we're ready. The numbers in that went up this year. I don't know that it necessarily, we want to continue to see bigger impact on that as it pertains to testing. So when the December iteration of that runs out, we'll kind of review that. And then finally, our Peer Link program continues to be second to none. SAT and discipline, we saw almost a third reduction on Tier 3 discipline this year, which was great. I know we've spent a few nights in closed session in that process, but we're excited to see some of that. Like when kids see accountability, they react to it, and we're starting to see that to the tune of a reduction by a third of the big discipline referrals. So our 2024-2025 goal is the implementation of the ISS model. That's Mr. Hoover running a true in-school suspension. You have a certified ELA teacher offering the in-school suspension. So he's not only going to have the classroom management strategies, he's going to be able to do English intervention, reading and writing. He also has the respect of the staff to where he's going to be able to collaborate, to where those teachers are going to be able to get the work that is needed, instead of just sitting a kid in a room and saying, be quiet, you're in trouble. Learning is going to happen. And then our SAT realignment, sadly, Mrs. Stanislawski and Mr. Stern are both moving on to their positions outside of the district. But Mr. Watson, Mr. Hoover, Scarlett Cunningham, our new social worker, and then a posting will go up for our new behavior interventionist will go out. So we'll move from a 3-headed monster to a 4-headed monster within that group, and a group that I think we have the right affect in that group for what their job is. So finally, I just want to say thank you. Chad and I talked about this a lot. It's really refreshing. You know, you read some of the stuff in the news coming out of school districts. What we appreciate is the support and collaboration from everybody. Mr. Williams gives us a lot of autonomy to make decisions, trust what we do, gives us a lot of feedback and makes sure that we're vetting our decisions. But not only that, central office is crucial. You know, Leanna has helped me with budgeting so much. Kim, making sure that we stay on top with our pupil accounting stuff. It really does take a full team to make sure we don't drop the ball on things. But not only that, but like then we come to the board of that. Like you guys have been so supportive in a lot of different things and letting us take risks. Like we have to know that all of those pieces are working and like with synergy, or else it's really hard to grow because you're afraid to take risks when you don't know that you have that true holistic support. You know, Colin's partnering up when we talked about the curricular piece. Alicia jumped right out, like, yeah, let's get aligned. Like, can we be aligned? It's not like, no, we're gonna do our own thing. Like, we are considering each other. And you see it in a lot of districts. The number one thing you'll hear in districts is high school saying, the elementary school is sending us kids that aren't prepared, and the elementary school is saying, you're ruining our kids, right? We don't have that. It's the same team. I love this leadership. I love the leadership at Collins. They're awesome to work with. And then parents, students, community members, and organizations. We're not without complaints. We're not without frustrations, but it's a pretty easy place to work. So 2023, 2024 was great. I'm ready for 2024, 2025. So that's where we're at.
Thank
Anything
you,
else?
Jeff. You're good.
Before we move on, any questions for either Alicia or Jeff from the board? Okay. Moving on, we'll head down to reports, superintendent reports.
All right. Since our last meeting, we've done a lot of year-end stuff. Collins students and staff had a great field day opportunity. The weather actually cooperated. The students had a great time. Thanks to the Houghton Lake Boosters for assisting with food and drinks. Of course, all the Collins staff, students, board members were able to be there and help make field day a big success. The end of the year golf outing was last Thursday, in keeping with the this annual end of the year tradition. This year we had 45 district staff attend the golf outing, up from about 34 the year before. The golf outing was at White Deer on Thursday. We started around 2 o'clock. It did have a little rain, but it didn't dampen the spirits. It certainly didn't hurt my golf game any, because I don't think anything hurt my golf game. It's that bad, so I'm out there to have fun. But it was nice to see our retirees, Derek Boyd and Todd Klein, out there for one last final outing on their last day at work. Safety Day at Collins was also a big success, thanks to the Houghton Lake Rotary, all of our county first responders, and Walmart for supporting Safety Day at Collins, in addition to all of the big vehicles that were fun to watch, and for the kids to see the dogs and all the big equipment. All the participating students got bike helmets, and there was a drawing for a free bike. I want to extend a big thank you to Jim Van Sice from Walmart for supporting this event like he does every year. And thanks to Susan Tyre from Rotary, who helped coordinate the event with Alicia. Thanks also to Representative Ken Morton, who attended the event. The weather was absolutely fantastic for that event as well. And then we've had 2 graduations since our last meeting, and I was thinking back, I'm like, wow, this is my 20th consecutive year of high school graduations, and so excited that we graduated almost 100 students combined between the high school and community ed. That's quite an accomplishment, and just to see the pride on the kids' faces and the parents and the staff, really heartfelt. This week, timber cutting will begin. I think I mentioned this about a month ago. Once all the timber is harvested, we'll coordinate with the pine seedling nursery that we've identified to discuss optimum replanting timelines, and that is where we will reach out certainly to our elementary and middle science teachers to get students involved in the replanting of that 40-acre plot out in Merritt. Excuse me. And then last but not least, summer construction is underway. We're doing almost all the flooring in the instructional spaces at Collins and the junior senior high. Thanks also to a grant again from Christy Myers, the Houghton Lake Preschool. A work crew will start installing the new digital sign in front of Collins later this month, and it will be another busy summer updating our facilities. So stay tuned, and I'll keep updating you as it goes. That's my update. Thanks. Excuse me.
Any questions on the superintendent report? All right, hearing none, we'll move down to action items. Action item A is a second reading / motion to adopt for policy 1240. Looking for a motion and a support.
I'll make that motion. Support.
Motion by Whittington, supported by Christian. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Oster,
Yes.
Halliday, Bowles,
Yes.
Whittington,
Yes.
Chesky.
Yes.
Souter, Christian.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. All right, looking for a motion and support for second reading, motion to rescind policy 2410. I'll go ahead and make the motion on this one. Motion by Jeske, support by Christian. We are gonna have some discussion on this one, so we'll just go ahead and move into that this time.
Sure. So as we talked about last time under first reading and after hearing some board feedback, I have structured this 6B and 6C in this order for a reason. So the first one you're seeing is your Neola policy provider's recommendation to rescind policy 2410 because the supporting law has been repealed. So the law has been changed. The law that was really the underpinning for this policy is now gone. And as Neola often does, is they recommend just, deleting that policy. And normally I wouldn't have raised an issue until, we go through our policy review and carefully look at these. And this one's a little unique, and so I know I was recommending the board that the optics of this are a little tricky. Boards can have policies that stand alone without, laws that underpin them. As a matter of fact, many of your policies do not directly connect to a civil law of any kind. So it would be totally appropriate for the board to vote through this recommendation and rescind the policy. But in case that is not the will of the board, the next one you'll see is to adopt an updated, amended version of this policy, which simply strikes the legal reference but keeps the language of the policy intact. So I know we kind of talked about that at length, but I also ordered it this way because you really get two bites at the apple. If you approve the rescission and this goes away, and you change your mind in the next one, you could actually approve the amended one and now you've brought it back. If you vote down the rescission, it stands. You also can then approve the amended one and then you've just amended it. So regardless of what you do on 6B, you get another bite at the apple on 6C. Any question? That was a mouthful. Any questions on that?
No, just a comment. We did talk pretty in length about this in discussion last meeting, so I think Ben put a pretty good stamp on it, on what the protocol is with it and why we're seeing both of them. So unless anybody has something else to add to it, we can go ahead and move forward with this one and then tackle it more thoroughly on the next motion. Hearing none, hearing no more comments, can we go ahead and have a roll call vote, please?
Christian,
Yes.
Souter, Jeske,
No.
Whittington,
Yes.
Bowles,
No.
Halliday, Oster,
No.
Motion fails 2-3. All right, moving on to 3C, second reading motion to adopt the updated policy 2410. I will make a motion.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move to vote. Roll call, please.
Oster,
Yes.
Halliday, Bowles,
Yes.
Whittington,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Souter, Christian,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to 3D, second reading motion to adopt policy 2414.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Oster, do I have support?
Support.
Is that Bowles?
Yeah.
Okay, support by Bowles. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Whittington,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Souter, Christian,
Yes.
Halliday, Bowles,
Yes.
Oster,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item E, second reading motion to adopt policy 2418, looking for a motion and support.
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it. It's a motion by Christian, support by Jeske. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote?
Bowles,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Souter, Whittington,
Yes.
Halliday, Oster,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Item F, second reading motion to adopt policy 6320, looking for a motion and support. I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Jeske, support by Christian. Any discussion on this one from the board? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Whittington,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Souter, Oster,
Yes.
Bowles,
Yes.
Halliday,
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. And item G, second reading, motion to adopt policy 8800. I'll make the motion on this one. Looking for support.
Support.
Supported by Whittington. Any discussion from the board on this one? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Christian,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Bowles,
Yes.
Oster,
Yes.
Souter, Whittington,
Yes.
Halliday,
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item H, motion to accept the Chartwell's 24-25 food service contract.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
I'll give the motion to Oster, and I'll support with, was it Ashley, was that you down there? Right. Any discussion on this one? Ben, you got anything to add on this one?
No, we're just excited. Chartwell's has been a great partner with us. Lacey, thanks for being here. Thank you for your bid, and we're excited about continuing with your good service.
Thank you.
Okay, if nothing further from the board, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Oster,
Yes.
Bowles,
Yes.
Halliday, Whittington,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Souter, Christian,
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item I, motion to accept the revised quality environmental services quote for asbestos and non-asbestos abatement at Collins Elementary. Additional $16,500 from ESSER funds.
I'll make a motion.
I was gonna say, Kelly, you want the motion on this one? I'll support. Discussion on this one.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit on this one. This was something the board actually approved back in January 8th. I believe the original bid was for $215,000, and that was based on an initial assessment of how many rooms might have that mastic, that asbestos, or the glue with the asbestos in it. Further testing of each spot revealed some additional square footage. So what you see is a revised quote from the same company, which amounts to this $16,500 that we need to spend additionally to get that asbestos abated.
Okay, any questions for Ben on this one? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote?
Halliday, Whittington,
Yes.
Souter, Christian,
Yes.
Jeske,
Yes.
Bowles,
Yes.
Oster,
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item J, motion to approve the extension of the Raymond audit contract in the amount of $26,900 from the general fund. I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Jeske and support by Whittington. Anything to add on this one, Ben?
Leanne and I have had a good working relationship. I think so has the district with Raymond. Raymond's done a nice job for us, and they've submitted their renewed contract, and we're looking forward to another good audit year.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote?
Jeske,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Souter, Whittington,
Yes.
Halliday, Oster,
Yes.
Bowles,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. And the last action item this evening, we're looking for a motion and support to approve Floor Care Concepts quote for the annual gym floor finish in the amount of $9,145.60 from the general fund.
I'll make the motion. I'll support.
Motion by Christian, supported by Oster. Ben, you wanna say anything on this?
Yeah, this is something you don't normally see because, you don't normally see it every summer because our Dean Burke custodians typically do it. And this summer, that's just simply not an option with all the other work. So we contracted it out. One of the two gyms is currently absolutely full. It's interesting to walk through there and see how full it is. So we'll have to work around the flooring construction over there. But the gym refinish here is not only to refinish with a better, harder clear coat surface, but it's also to do some paint repair on some of the new lines. There were a couple of chips that happened, so they're gonna retouch any paint that needs to be fixed. and then they're gonna take care of the labor, and the clear coating and the waxing, to get the high school gym taken care of. We will be able to pick up that one hopefully later on. If not, we'll have to reach out to a firm as well. But this normally costs us about $5,600, maybe a little more if we do it in-house. It's a little more money, but just being considerate of all the work they're doing, you know, this wasn't something they were gonna be able to take on, so.
Okay, any questions for Ben on this one from the board? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Christian,
Yes.
Jeske.
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Oster,
Yes.
Halliday, Whittington,
Yes.
Souter.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Any discussion items from the board this evening? I just want to quickly say how nice both graduation ceremonies were. I was able to attend both of them. They were outstanding this year. Yeah, kudos to the admin team for putting on a good ceremony for, and Heidi too as well. Thank you for all your hard work. Items on the board calendar and some upcoming student events here. Kind of a little shorter list of that now that the school year is winding up. Nobody has anything else to add. We are adjourned at 7:39. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, that paper quick.